Hello, everyone. I am Sharon Roberson Pinder, President and CEO of the Capital Region Minority Supply Development Council. I'm also the operator of the Virginia Minority Business Development Agency's Business Center, the first one of its kind in the history of the Commonwealth. But today, I am host of HOTCHAT podcast, and we're live, and we're here with a celebrated guest that I cannot wait for you to talk to. But let me just share some more information about who we are. The Capital Region Minority Supply Development Council is one of 23 affiliates of the National Minority Supply Development Council, and we're the nation's premier agency for certifying, advocating, and developing minority-owned businesses in this country. This year, we are especially excited because we're celebrating 50 years of existence of developing and advocating for our businesses. And we are here today, a real special day, because this is our kickoff for Women's History Month. We're going to tell her story. Whether you are wanting to hear it or not, we're going to tell her story. And we're kicking off our celebration today, which is also International Women's Day, along with being Women's History Month, with a history maker herself. And we're going to be speaking with none other than Germaine Bolds-Leftridge, founder, and we call her Queen Midas of multicultural beauty brands. She is a powerhouse, and you'll understand why, but you already probably know why. Launching and representing products and beauty brands in the retail marketplace all over the world. I'm excited because I know this discussion is sure what you've been asking and waiting for. This is our second season. If you're new to us, subscribe to us on podcasts, HOTCHAT Podcasts, and you could either go to our website or I'll tell you later where you can subscribe in Apple, Spotify, or Google. But before we get started, let me take a moment to recognize those folks who believe in us enough to invest in us, and we call them our sponsors. Our title sponsor, Exelon, which includes BGE, an Exelon company, Pepco, an Exelon company, Capital One, Amicus, who is our premier signature minority business, of course, the MBDA Center, and SB and Company, another one of our minority businesses who support us in terms of title sponsorships. So, Queen Midas. Let me tell you, folks, just a little bit about, if you've been living under a rock, just in case you don't know about her. She is, we call it Queen Midas because whatever she touches turns to gold. She launches, sells, and represents products and brands in the retail marketplace as their premier beauty broker. She's a 30-year veteran of the Black and brown beauty space, turning brand founders into multi-millionaires via her company GBL Sales and the ubiquitous Women's Expo, what we're going to talk about a little later. She represents now legendary brands, and by the way, co-owner of Ambi Skincare, but brands such as Annie International, Bonner Brothers, Curl Days, Curl Dynasty, Kenya Moore, Hair Care, Makeup Bullet, Luster Products, Mael Organics, or, there's a laundry list of companies that she's represented over the years. She's had several recognitions over the years that we'll talk about as well. We're going to post her resume, not her resume, but her bio. But, there have been things like she's a Diamond Life member of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority and a proud member of the Lynx organization. Her golfing skills are legendary, but it has afforded her to be a 3-time women's golf champion at Lakewood Country Club in Rockville, Maryland. And she's been top 100 minority business winner. She has been recognized manufacturer representative. But let's get to the soul of Germaine Bolds-Leftridge.
I like that.
You like that? You know why?
I like that.
Because you lead from the soul, right? And you've been in this business about 30 years now, right?
And I'm only, what?
And you're only 31. What's
How
with
does
that?
Yeah,
What's
how does
that?
that work?
But here in this particular area, by way of obtaining your undergraduate degree at Morgan State University.
Go Bears.
And then from that time, after you got that business degree, decided to go into this business? And so I know in conversations,
It decided for me.
okay, in conversations we've had in the past, you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. There is certainly a beautiful side of the beauty business, and there is a challenging side of the beauty business. But let's talk about the Black beauty business. And I just remember in my younger day when I went into a hat company. I mean, that's, socioeconomically, that's what I went into looking for products. You would go to the fashion fair
Right.
counter. You just make that beeline there because they were the only ones making products from women of color. And if you are of a darker hue like I am, then you felt limited as well. But talk about your entree into the business, and then let's talk about what you've seen evolve over the last 30 years.
I love the beauty business. And you said something real important, and we'll get more depth about that, where you said you couldn't find your shade. And that was because your shade wasn't important. But see, now it's important because it's not about black, white, brown. It's about green.
Tell me about that. Why do you say that?
Because it's about the money. We're big spenders.
Okay.
We are spenders, and they want that money because that's how companies grow if they expand their base. And so why not try to capture some of that dollars that the brown and beauty people are spending? So
we always liked to look good. So why this recent recognition of let's pay attention, there's money on the table? Why? What has happened? But
if you think about it, we're the gatekeepers to all the culture, American culture. We introduce fashion, we introduce music, food, all of that. So they know that we're influencers, and we're also spending our dollars. And for so many years, we didn't have it. We had to go buy secondhand stuff. Or we had to, clothes were passed down from one child to the next.
I remember that.
And I think that what has happened now that we have the ability to spend, we want to experience some of the finer things in life. I never thought about wanting a boat before until recently. And then I was in California and ended up right in front of yachts by happenstance. And so that was my manifestation. But I don't even swim. So why do I want a boat?
A woman with a
You know why I want a boat?
Why?
Because I want my grandkids to jump into the ocean and see how that feels. So when they're kids, they will expose that to them. It's no longer for me. It's for that legacy experience, that legacy wealth.
Multi-generational wealth.
That's important.
Yeah.
And that's what has happened now. We've never had it. My inheritance is going to be what's in the car ashtray. That changed.
Right.
But that's okay because I got so much more
and
from my parents.
You have been a serial, I'm going to come back to the beauty business in just a moment, but you have been a serial entrepreneur for quite some time.
Yes.
I remember even, in recent times, co-owner of Ambi. I remember during COVID, you had this idea about Travel Mate before COVID. And then
cleaning the seats and the ash and the trays. Before God gave me that vision, but because my clients, their needs became before mine, I put it on the back burner. But God gave me that Travel Mate, cleaning the seats, because I've always been a clean freak, especially being on planes so much.
Yeah.
And so had I did that prior to COVID, I was ahead of the game.
Right. But you did do it.
I did do it.
And because I have some of that product.
It's really good.
It smells good too.
Yeah, Travel Mate.
And it doesn't dry out your hands.
It doesn't dry out your hands.
And then, I remember Travel Mate. I remember 18 Couture. Beautiful line of clothing.
Golf pair from the office to the course. And because at that time I was wearing my hair very short and I could hit that ball, I wanted to create a brand that was feminine, but to let you know, I'm out there playing, serious, but I am a lady, and that's okay. And so I went back to that the long dresses and skirts before. And I see now some of the fashion that they're creating in golf. I had that back in 2008.
Ahead of your time.
Yeah.
So then as you get these visions, again, you've had the 18 couture, you had the travel mate and all that kind of stuff, but you still you were growing this beauty business.
Yeah.
And so you said it chose you. Tell me about that.
The beauty business chose me because when I look back, and this is one thing I tell younger people, don't be so hard on yourself, because sometimes your who you are you will catch up with what you're destined to do. And so
your purpose,
yeah. And sometimes we're too hard on ourselves, and it's like, trust God. Trust God. He knows the plans that he has for you. I've always known that I've had passion, but I didn't know what I was going to do with that passion. When I graduated from Morgan, I really wasn't serious about finding a job. I don't know what I was thinking. And I really had limited guidance. And so when I graduated, I found myself in a place of, okay, so what do I do now?
What's next?
And then when I realized, I saw my friends, they were working for Fortune 500 companies. I was like, oh, good for them, but sad for me. So I ended up I would go interview, and it always would be me and the other person for the position, and the other person would get the job. And happy for them, sad for me. And so I ended up selling cars in Timonium, Maryland,
what kind
at
of cars?
Datsun's,
Okay.
280ZX, 280Zs.
Okay.
Didn't know a thing about cars, and was really good. Found out I was really good at it. But what happened at that time, it really went against the grain of who I am. I could full list someone, and I could tell you names of some people that I sold cars to. And if it was a mother that was single, and I would full list her, and calculating the commission I was gonna get on it. And I was like, I can't do that. I'll say, I'll take a little bit more off. It's just that my heart was always trying to make sure that everybody wins. And I'll never forget, the general manager one time called me into his office, and he was like, I should fire you. Did you tell that woman that she didn't have to take all that finance percentages? I said, yes. She went and I told her, I said, when you go in the finance office, be willing to walk away. You don't have to take all that insurance and all that stuff.
And she told on you?
She told, because the guy was really good at what he did. And he was like, you got to take it. You got to take it. She said, well, and I told her, don't say, it was a sister too. I said, don't say that I said it. But that's when she got in the press. She said, well, Germaine said, and the general manager called me to the office. He said, if I didn't like your skinny A, I would fire you right now. But that was a lesson for me. And it just went against the grain. It's like, how do I be myself, but yet not put myself in a position to be fired?
Right.
But what that told me was that I have a gift for selling. And so that's when it started. And then he was my boyfriend at the time that I was living. He got a job closer to DC, and I had to move. And then I went to a job I absolutely hated. I was a claims adjuster.
Oh, I cannot see you doing that.
I did, girl. Every day I would put my hand on the knob to open the door, and I was like, God, give me strength. God, give me strength. What would this give me strength? And this is what you do all day. Looking at. But I knew that this was in the meantime. I just, something in my gut was saying in the meantime. Then I met a young lady, Sharon Bullock, who's a Delta at Morgan at Homecoming. And someone introduced me to her, and she was like, you would be great in the beauty business. And so they started setting up interviews for me. And so I got a job. My first job was with Soft Sheen as a merchandiser.
Okay.
And that was my first entree into the beauty space. So
when did that translate to you becoming a manufacturer's rep?
Well, what happened, and Sharon, what I realized, and I just thought about this recently, I have worked for entrepreneurial type of companies. So that's a different mindset than corporate. And so what has happened is, like Soft Sheen, that was the Gardners, Gary Gardner, Denise Gardner, the Gardner family, Carefree Curl. And I worked at the lower level, being a merchandiser, I was the ambassador making between the consumer and the shelf, and trying to make sure that the product was set up right so that the consumer would want to buy it. And then I got tired of merchandising. I felt I was really good. So I wanted to go to the next level. Then I became a broker, and I worked for a broker company and was really good at that, and decided I got an opportunity with Luster Products to become a broker.
And is that when you created GBL Sales?
That's when 1990, March 1st, 1990 is when I put the shingles up.
And this is March. And so this is an anniversary.
Oh my God, I forgot the first.
I know,
Just like I told you, I don't know what holidays. You just so busy trying to next.
So you just celebrated another anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Thank you so much.
No problem. And so in the business, this business is a multi-billion-dollar business?
Yes. I mean, it created the more millionaires than most industries back in the day. You look at Madam C.J. Walker.
I was going to ask you about her.
First millionaire female, black or white, and became a millionaire in the time that was unheard of. You see in the movie, she's driving around. Was that a Cadillac?
Something that was, and she lived next to one of the
lived in a mansion.
Yeah, but she manufactured.
She had foresight. She had vision. But more importantly, she had boldness. Because a lot of us have passion, don't know what to do with it.
Right.
And we just don't have the boldness. We're afraid. She had the audacity to step out.
And so Forbes magazine said that you were the woman behind the Black beauty business. So talk about that a moment, because over time, you talked about some of the millionaires. How did you help those companies accelerate and be the companies that they are? Why did Forbes call you the woman behind?
Well, what has happened, and it really didn't dawn on me, because what I try to do, I don't think about the money first. I think about achieving the objective. And whenever I'm interviewing with a client, it's like, what is it that you want to do? What's your end? What's your end goal? And so, and I think about it, and most of them is to create legacy wealth. And so how do we do that? We have to develop stages of getting them to the point where they can become millionaires and multimillionaires. And then I start hearing my brand say, Germaine, you helped me make my first million. But I never would think about it like that. When I would see them on the shelf, their victory was my victory. And I wanted to see them, and I still do, want to see them successful. At the same time, then when they get theirs, I get mine.
Okay. So, and then you've had some movie stars come up to you and that you're repping. And so if I have this great idea that I want to find the best product to clear up the ash on my feet, what do you do?
I usually don't take them at that stage.
Okay.
Not at concept. But what I do have people call me, and everything for me is not about an exchange of money. If I feel that I can help you, I'm going to help you. I may even tell them, call me in a year. This is what I would like for you to do. Give them some homework. Here's some manufacturers. If you have a formula that you would like to put into a product, here's some suggestions. Here's some suggested manufacturers. And then tell them, make sure that your pricing model is in place, and make sure that you're doing this for the right reason. And are you and I can tell by how they take my advice whether they're going to have stick-to-itiveness. Because some of them can't take what I say to them. And I'm like, what I'm saying to you is nothing compared to what you're going to get when you get into this space, because it's not an easy journey. It's not one for everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur. So, I mean, recently I had to tell someone about their name, and I haven't heard back from them. But if they don't change the name, they will never get to where they want to be.
And that sounds like it was free advice that you'd given them. It was. So tell me who at this point in your career, because I know that you've also talked in the past about you as an entrepreneur making sure that you're making payroll because you have employees and whatever, and you grow in your business. what's the ideal model that you will take a look at? And because I also know that you're representing some celebrities, and so
Yes.
they don't all have to be celebrities, but what?
And I won't take on all celebrities either,
Yeah, I would
because
imagine.
a lot of them won't put in the work.
Yeah,
And
so
I'm not going to work harder than you.
yeah, so Queen Midas, when a concept, or maybe not a concept, but when a product comes in front of you, what for you is that? Maybe it's the internal.
It is. It's an
the
instinct.
internal formula.
It's
It's the instinct
It's
that
an
says
instinct.
this is a good one.
It's an
Okay.
instinct.
Okay.
It's also how I vibe with the client too.
Mhm.
You know, in my feeling, are they dedicated? Because I know I'm going to work hard for them. Are you going to put in the work? Can I call you on Sunday and say, I have an idea, and you pick up the phone? I've had clients that I'm in church praising the Lord. They ringing up my phone, but I like it. And I'll say, I'm in church. I'll call you when I get out of church. That's what I want to see in the entrepreneur, that they have that driving passion, that at the end, I'm going to get paid, because in the beginning, because I get paid on commission, what I sell is what I get paid on. So I'm doing a lot of investments, but, you know, investing in my time, my energy, and also my resources. So I want to make sure that you have what it takes, that once I get on shelf, that I can get paid then.
But it's also your reputation, right? Because of your relationship with those retailers, you
yes.
don't want that
Yeah.
impugned upon.
Right.
So part of what that magic formula is to ensure that when you walk into that retailer, that they're taking it on your word
Yes.
because of the experience and what you've been able to deliver in the past.
And I've had some that didn't work. They got on shelf and they didn't maintain. They were unable to maintain their shelf position, and sometimes it's because they don't listen. That, you know, and I'll tell them in the beginning, your pricing model does not work. Oh, yes, it does. It's tested. And I said, I really am not comfortable with it. So, and then find out that's why they were not able to maintain, because they did not have a competitive price. You know, so, and it's heartbreaking to see people, you know, their dreams crushed.
Right. And so part of pricing model is also what it takes to make the product.
All of that is factored in, you know, and it's an old exercise, the SWOT analysis.
Sure.
It still applies. You must do that SWOT analysis.
Are most people manufacturing in the United States, or do you see your clients manufacturing outside?
They're manufacturing here.
Okay.
They're manufacturing
that's
here.
Good to know as well.
Yeah. And then also, you know, from a consumer standpoint, is this a manufacturer's product blend, or is it the owner's blend? Like the brand that I created, they're my formulas.
Okay.
So you want to be able to understand that too,
and manage that
and
as
manage
well.
it. Absolutely.
I want to talk about you, and we're going to come back to, ladies and gentlemen, if those who can, you know, looking at us visually can see this setup of I Know, and this is Germaine's latest creation as a serial entrepreneur. But I want to come back to that in just a second, because I want to talk about, and by the way, look at me because I use these products.
You look beautiful.
I want to talk about how you've gotten here, right? But let's talk about ubiquitous. You know, again, in the beauty space, tell me about that dream. And now you're going into, what year is this?
This is our 8th year. We were not able, would have been our 10th, but for 2 years we did not do it
because of COVID.
Because of COVID. And this is our year, and it's going to be amazing. And, you know, just to everybody knows, ubiquitous means to exist, to be everywhere at the same time. And when you think about the sheer definition of ubiquitous, only God is ubiquitous. But my goal is for you to remember my name. How do you remember me when I'm no longer here? And that's making a difference in people's lives.
Piece.
That legacy piece, that's how you become ubiquitous. And I came up with that because when this first natural trend came up, you know, Black women were deciding to wear their hair natural, and some was still choosing to relax their hair. I saw this division, and I was like, we got a lot of nerve. How do we separate ourselves and weaken our power based on how we choose to wear our hair? How much money you got in the bank? What's your credit score look like? What are you doing to make a difference in our community? Those are the things that are important. Those are the things that are sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hair, if you get cancer, the chemo's going to take that out.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that matter? So I created this platform, and if you look at the model, she has a natural hair and then a straight, because it doesn't matter. Who are you as a person inside? Who are you? And so Ubiquitous is a platform for entrepreneurs to really to hone in on that entrepreneur spirit. If you have a desire, is a place, a platform for you to come to see if it really works. We have performers, entertainers, we have panel discussions, and this year is going to be off the chain.
Tell people where it is, and I've got to come back. We have entertainers. Could you really please define that, please? You don't just have entertainers. Could you give us some examples of that? But it's a large trade show at Washington Convention
one of the
Center.
largest here in DC.
Yes,
it's at the Washington DC
but
Convention Center at the end of August every year.
It's the largest trade show of its kind.
Yes,
on the East Coast.
On the East Coast,
right?
Yes.
So let's be clear about that. And so when you walk into the Washington Convention Center, you transform this place, so that women, particularly women of color,
and thank you for being a volunteer, dedicated volunteer.
Yes, women of color can come and understand what those choices are what choices are available.
What choices are available, and the majority of the vendors are Black owned, not all of them, but it is a place where you are celebrated. You feel that song, good vibes, good vibes. It's truly good vibes there.
It's 2 days.
It's 2 days. This year it's going to be 3.
Okay, so you're doing what? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Sunday, but Friday is a VIP with very limited tickets.
Okay,
and so
that always makes you want to come when they say very limited.
No, it is very limited.
I'm only teasing you,
it really is. And I'm not able to announce who's going to give a full-blown concert because they have
You're having a concert on Friday night.
Friday night is called the Black and Bling event. And we're going to celebrate Black and Bling. So total 500 so is our vendors and then VIP. So we have about 250 tickets that we're going to sell for that. And then Ayanna Van Zant. And if I'm saying my tongue just sometimes.
I think you said it right. Don't ask me to say
I can't. Don't let me say it again.
Okay.
She's coming on Saturday from 10 to 11. And our theme this year is unmasking the possibilities.
Oh, I like that because we're coming out these masks.
Coming out the mask.
Yeah.
You know, and some of our masks are invisible, but we know we have them.
Okay.
So it's more than just what has been on our face for 2 years, but do we have a mask in our heart? Is this mask keeping us from being our best selves? So it's going to be amazing. And like panel discussion. Is the weave wearing you? Or are you wearing the weave? Where the aging process, vanity meets the aging process, just different. We're going to go into mental health. CVS is one of our major sponsors, and we were on a call. They're talking about second chance, people that have come out of prison. They're making opportunities for them to get jobs. This is what I'm talking about, community game changers, making not just talking about good health and providing stuff for you to go on the shelf and buy. They're giving back to the community. They're talking about taking care of the caregiver. I'm a caregiver. You're a caregiver. The demographics of a caregiver is getting younger. Where are your resources? It's hard. Yeah. This first thing I woke up this morning, my dad has dementia. He thinking somebody's taking his stuff. So how do you deal with that every day? They want to be a resource for the community about how do you re-engage into the community after being in jail? How do you talk about mental health? That 30-year-old, beautiful, had it going on, beauty queen, jumped off a building.
Yes.
How does that happen? We got to talk about that. Our kids in our community, they're committing suicide.
Right.
How we got to be in preventive mode. How does that happen? And so Ubiquitous want to be a resource in CVS to talk about those things.
So it's more than it's more than beauty.
Beauty is defined in so many different ways.
And it's internal, and it gets back to when I said in the beginning in terms of it's your soul. Yeah. And so, how do we ensure that as a community we come together and been able to do that? And so I think that's beautiful. So that Sunday, you always have church.
Food for the soul. We
You
got
always have
Morette
church.
Brown Clark
Okay.
as our girl. She's going to be the worship
I remember
leader.
when you had Yolanda Adams one
Yolanda
year.
Adams, Anthony Brown.
Yes, I remember
therapy.
that. I remember that.
So we've had some amazing people to come and just perform, and we've had prayer rooms, war rooms where if you needed prayer, because a lot of us do. And so it's about whatever matters. And we talk about financial health, how to buy a house, how to get your credit score up so you don't have to pay those high interest rates.
And I remember, was it PNC? What bank was that you had?
JP.
It was JP Morgan
yes.
that you had. And that
the currency conversation.
The credit conversation was a deep one on that. It was on a Sunday, I think.
Yes, she did an amazing job.
It was. And so just all those things that happened. And before I move on from Ubiquitous, tell them some, I remember seeing Lettucey. Who else did I see there? I was working, by the way, but I remember.
And they were spending too, because we had some amazing vendors. I mean,
don't tell people where I get my clothes from.
No, amazing. Yeah, come on too. You'll see. You won't see what Sharon has. She forbids people to buy what she buys. And it's okay.
But seriously, and so it is just all encapsulating. So I encourage people to come. And this year is August.
The VIP is August 26th, and it's the 27th and the 28th.
It is always the last weekend in August. That's beautiful.
So they can go on Ubiquitous_Expo and just follow us, and you will start seeing a lot of things in May. WHUR will more than likely be our radio sponsor.
Again,
we're going to be doing some things. We got a lot of things that we're trying to tie the ends on.
So as we come out of this pandemic,
get ready.
Ubiquitous has been on hold for 2 years, so just be ready.
Get ready.
Yeah,
get ready
to
release.
Yeah,
and to unmask the possibilities.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, who has I know as we look at I know and the Dragonfly, I know that a great influence in your life was your mother.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit, and talk about why you, after many years of building brands across this country and globally, you decided to focus on delivering of this particular skincare line for yourself that you've done, from beginning to end, now available. And why you decided to focus on that particular demographic that you focus on. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the backbone story, the backstory. I lost my mom in 2020, the hardest thing that I've ever experienced.
Sure.
But it's an example of how the valley moments are necessary. And sometimes people want to avoid them, when we really need to embrace them and see what is the learning lesson out of this. So my mom has always, we didn't have very much, but she always embraced her skin. And she talked about, make sure you take care of your skin so to take care of you later. Don't ever do your skin down, go upward motions, upward and outward. And
and I told you, I had my 11-year-old granddaughter in the mirror, and we were putting on stuff,
that.
And I was teaching her to gravity's not going to always be your friend.
Understand that. Yeah. And too often we should be in the moment, but your moment should also prepare you for the future.
Okay.
And too often we don't do that. And I see some of the things that these young girls are doing to themselves, and it breaks my heart, because they're going to be sad, older, mature women because of all the things.
The body alteration thing.
Yes, the body altering and just what they think is important. It really isn't. And what they're building their I knows on, it's going to be a foundation. If you build your I know foundation on things that are not solid, your foundation is going to crumble. And so when my mom passed, in the hospital, everybody talked about how beautiful her skin was.
Your mom was
Everybody,
beautiful.
she didn't. And I mean, she took care of her skin. And so, and I was bathing her one day and I was in amazement at how she did not have an 83-year-old body. I mean, I was just like, Mom, I know I shouldn't be staring, but you know, this is amazing to me. And so at that moment, I realized how fragile life was and that you never know when is your time. And I've always been the person to push others. And so I said, you know, if not now, when? And, you know, everybody always talking about getting that seat at the table. I want my seat at the table. But what about being a server first? Because that's where the lessons are. And I think that that's being a servant has prepared me to now to take a seat at the table. I'm serving and I'm gonna sit at the table, you know. And so I know came, and then when my mother passed, I was in my car, I mean, bawling. And there was this dragonfly that was just hovering over the car. And when I got home, I ran into the house to look up the dragonfly. And it talked about it was born in the water and then it takes flight.
Oh my goodness.
It takes flight. And how the dragonfly, it's just, it can pivot. And in life, you have to know how to effectively pivot and change courses if necessary at any given moment. So I adopted the dragonfly as our logo. And I know came about, the first name that I came up with was Face It, but it wasn't available. And I came up with Face It because—
You said face it?
Face it. Face it. Like face whatever's happening to you. Face up, face it, deal with it. But it had been taken already. And my mom spoke to me because I was immobilized. I couldn't do anything. And she was like, face it. I'm gone. Get up. Don't make me your excuse for not getting things done. Get up and do it. Do it. Do not let this stop you. And so came up, created it. And, I started thinking about it, and being in the beauty space, I look at how, and we talked about it early, a lot of things are not the beauty, the hair. There's a lot of wonderful manufacturers, young female entrepreneurs and male entrepreneurs that are doing the darn thing in that hair care beauty space. But as I look at advertisement,
interesting.
They don't focus on us. That once you hit that 50 mark, it's like they don't think we're important. If you look at advertisement, I look at when we're golfing, the golf dresses are all the way up here.
Yes.
And then some of the women I see golfing and said, did you look in the back? Did you look in the mirror? They, okay, bring those skirts down just a little bit. It will be just as sexy. And so, and I looked at in the skincare space, it was nothing that someone really took serious about the formulation. Caucasian women, they wrinkle, we sag, gravity start taking down. So trying to think of ingredients, and I wanted to create something that had us in mind first and foremost, that it was intentional for Black women, 50 plus, that platinum group. I've always been interested in the platinum group, doing research when I was in my 49, 50, wondering about the DHT that attacks the hair shaft that starts causing the thinning. Right. All of those things, that's always been of interest. And I always knew that God was going to let my latter days be my greater days. So how do I be my best self in my latter days? And the skin is your largest organ. And that's the first thing that people see is your skin. You can put makeup on all you want, but you got bad skin behind that makeup. And I wanted to create a line that foundation is a choice, not a must. And so how do you do that? And to get that glow, that natural glow, and for women to understand it's beyond just the skincare products. It's about the community, for us to keep creating a future for ourselves, to understand that aging is not for punks, but it's so much beauty here at this stage. So my I know confession is that the win happens in the fourth quarter.
Love it.
I don't care what
Say that again.
The win happens in the fourth quarter.
And for those of us over 50,
we're in the fourth quarter.
We're in our fourth quarter.
But that's where the win. You can make your money in the third quarter. Look at Steve Jobs.
Mm-hmm.
He made his money. But what happened? You know, he got you know, so how do you win in the fourth quarter? You know, and things are going to happen as our body gets weaker. We have to be stronger because we lose people.
Mm-hmm.
How do we be able to rebound from that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this is, building a community for us to talk about this hashtag real age. I don't ever want to be 20, 30. If God said, Germaine, if you get a chance, I'll let you pick an age you want to be. It would be right where I am right now.
Interesting.
I choose not to go back. And we're not meant to be here forever. So what do we do right now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you look at the joys of your granddaughter,
mm-hmm.
you have the opportunity to impart things she's going to realize and think about as she goes through this older, you know.
And so you took all that energy and passion and knowledge and wisdom, and then you created.
It's a beautiful line. It's
a
beautiful line.
Can you tell us in the remaining moments we have left? I just want folks to understand what the line is about and what the thought was in each of these things, because it's when you apply all of this is how you kind of start out in the morning and at nighttime and the nighttime is really important. And then just the beautiful packaging of it. And then so you in terms of that 30 years of wisdom and knowledge, you were able to take that and create. And so tell us a little bit about the line itself.
And I wanted to say too, when you give, you get a get back when you least expect it. One of my brands that I started with them 6 or 7 years ago, when they got their 9-figure first evaluation, they blessed me to the point I cried, which afforded me the opportunity.
Because they understood that they didn't get there by themselves.
They understood it. They understood it. And so often we forget. But anyway, so I was able to really put good ingredients in this product and really take the time to try to create a brand that women would get that glow. And that's the one word that I'm hearing from everybody. People are talking about that glow. And so in their names that remind us every day what we have to think about, like the me first. Me first. It's not about being selfish. It's about, don't forget, at this point in time in the fourth quarter, you better put yourself first. You better take care of yourself. Yeah, me first. Take care of yourself. So it is a plum enzyme powder. And most women don't use a powder, so it's a gentle exfoliator that you use morning, noon, and night. And it has a powerful trio enzyme. And I'm not going to go into all of that, but it is an amazing.
Plus some of that's trade secrets.
Yeah, but it cleanses that skin and it starts the glow process. And then the Immerse, which is it's a neroli flower. It's a flower and it's cold pressed. And we use this as our toner. But I spray it in my hair. When I get stressed, I spray it in my face. I set my makeup with it, which is called Immerse. And when I came up with that, I want to immerse myself into life. I want to immerse myself with my grandchildren in everything that I do. And then the second one, eyes matter. And one of the things that eyes always matter to me.
Right.
I've always told my kids, look at the person's eyes. The eyes tell so much. I see you. I see you. I feel you. And so if nothing else, the mask has taught us to look at people in the eye so that you can recognize who they are
and communicate.
And then
they say that you look in the eyes and you see the soul.
So
I keep coming back to that soul word.
The soul.
Yeah.
Because that matters. The soul matters like the eyes matter. And so the eyes matter. It helps with the underline, the smoothing out the lines. Look at Sharon's beautiful eyes. And then one of my favorites is the Very Necessary. Put a period at it. It's a broad spectrum. It's FDA approved with a 40 SPF of 40, and it doesn't leave a white cast on the face. And this helps to block that UV rays on the sun, because the sun causes fine lines and wrinkles. And then the Glow Booster is a vitamin C that really helps gets that shine on. And so you can use this. And then at night we have Nightcap. And that's a retinol cream, which really helps the skin to be firm with the elasticity. And then R4 is a hydrating night moisturizer. And R4 is the rest, restore, renew, and revive. And that's what takes place at night. But it's a beautiful line. And you'll learn how to use it. You know, we have our recommendation, but people are telling me how they use it. And we're building a community here. This will be, and I'm saying it on this national broadcast, this will be the #1 skincare brand for women of color.
Yeah.
And they're going to help me make it big.
Yeah. And I do not doubt that at all. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. This is how this entrepreneur keeps reinventing herself and taking her whole bag of tricks and being able to leverage it and creating that legacy for her and her children and grandchildren.
And the community.
And the community itself.
Yes.
I can't help but when I think about, because again, for a demographic of women who have been forgotten, but as someone said to me recently, Black women are the cradle of our community, right?
Absolutely.
And so thank you for taking all the time and resources and knowledge and the thing, you know, in terms of how you've manufactured this and whatever, and targeted toward the platinum woman, the woman in our community, women of color, Black women.
The root. We spend $465 million on skincare every year. And really,
say that again,
$465 million a year. And most of these brands were not created with us in mind. And, you know, there's a brand out there, I won't name it, but they said co-created by Black dermatologists. But it's a major big box manufacturer.
And it's interesting because they
played on marketing.
They played on, and so that's very important. So so what's genuine about this, it's a genuine product created genuinely for women of color at a very
reasonable price point, I must say.
Right. You know, specifically, I'll share this with you. When I heard Mary J. Blige's song, Good Morning Gorgeous, I love that. When I think about what you're doing, what you're saying, I think about the words of that song when it says, I get up in the morning and I look in the mirror and
song.
if I love me first. Good morning, gorgeous.
You got to talk to yourself.
Absolutely.
Because you do transform. I remember my mother said, your face gonna change. And I was like, I don't know, what does that mean? But a lot of times you don't get it until you're in it, you know, but it's okay because this is a beautiful time in our lives that needs to be embraced. And what I'm doing now is trying to become a ubiquitous woman, you know, and I wrote a song for I Know. And never wrote a song before, and it is the theme song for this brand. It's things that my mother said, you know, today is a day I've never seen before and a day I will never see again. Let's make the best of it before it passes by.
Oh my goodness.
And give honor to the one most high. And we have to tell ourselves that every day, make this the best day ever. Because tomorrow, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Matter of fact, we don't know what's going to happen next 10 minutes.
Right.
So be joyful, be happy in spite of things.
Yeah.
You know, in spite of life, when life happens.
I love that. Can they hear that song if they go to your website? It's a song
we're getting ready. He just, it was mastered so that it was, because it was only 2 minutes and it has a rap. And so I will give you the information to tell, but it's a real amazing song. But if they go to the website, they can hear the rap with the ladies dancing, and everybody in there is over 50.
Yeah, and I love how you have created this whole ambassadors of beautiful Black women. That represent I Know. So what I know is that this was the best way to kick off Women's History Month. I know this was the best way of celebrating International Women's Day.
Thank you.
And what I know is that folks that hear and see you today, that may have never heard and saw you before, that you've touched their soul. So thank you for being
Thank you.
my special guest,
Thank you.
my friend. And so
Thank you.
Thank you so much
for allowing me to share your space.
Oh, absolutely.
Appreciate
absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. We're just so blessed that we've had Germaine Bolds-Leftridge tell us about her journey. And as we kind of wind down this episode of Hot Chat, I just would like to thank our sponsors in their entirety. AARP, BWI, Thurgood Marshall International Airport, the Ellison Group, Hilton, M&T Bank, Northrop Grumman, SAIC, the University of Maryland, Global Campus, University of Maryland, College Park, Zillion Technologies, Allianz Science and Technology, the City of Baltimore, Fannie Mae, Horseshoe Casino, Maryland's Governor's Office of Small Minority and Women Business Affairs, Parsons, Sodexo, Zones, Washington Gas, Truist, Peapod, Mass Mutual, Leidos, Freddie Mac, DC Department of Small and Local Business Development, AT&T, BAE Systems, Dominion Energy, Financial Realty Services, Lockheed Martin, McCormick, Prince George's County Offices of Central Services, the United States Postal Service, and Metro. And as I shared with you, this is our golden anniversary, and we have a host of events in store for you. To learn more about our events, look at our webpage at www.crmsdc.org. You can hear this episode of our podcast forever, because once this is all done, we're going to hang it with the other ones that we've done. And lastly, I'd like to thank the team in terms of them delivering. Our executive producer, Sonia Bigelow-Smith, our creative director, Nicole Miles, Renee Sanford, of course, Graybo Media as our production company. We could not do this without you. And so I hate to say goodbye, but we have other things to do. We will see you next time. And don't forget, Germaine has kicked it off for us, but we're going to have Michelle Rice from TV One. We're going to have others as well. Nicole Parker from Ellison Group, Selena Huff, Magic Johnson's Sodexo Magic President, Anne Ramakuruman,
amazing women.
and some amazing women that we will focus on the remainder of this month. Thank you.
I won't miss it.
Oh, I'm glad you won't.